Hello, everyone, and welcome back at long last to the Chair Shot Wrestling Podcast. I am Steve O'Mac, as always. I'm here with Deano D-Truth, and we are finally back at Moonlight Studios.
We are back, baby, and what is fucking cracking? I can say I've been waiting to say that. I've been waiting to say that. It hurt to get it out. It's been
feels
like,
like-
God, Joey, like,
Yeah, well, look, first of all, let's start with apologies, right? We haven't done a video for over 2 weeks, and there's good reason. A, we've been really, really busy. B, we did try to do one
my
last
mum and dad
week.
have really shit Wi-Fi in the
We had
the side thing.
massive technical
So,
issues.
mum and dad, that's your fault. You know what I
We
mean?
couldn't.
I was round my mum and dad's house,
Yeah.
looking after the animals. You know what I mean? I weren't at my place, Moonlight Studios. We're in now. So then, yeah, we had to go there. Long story short, Wi-Fi kept going down and down and down. Then we'd already watched a great night of Dynamite, hadn't we? And we'd had a few beers at that point. And we thought, you know what? Let's abandon ship, didn't we?
Look, I'm sure we had about 25 minutes of really, really good content, only for it to come up that we'd lost connection. And then, you know, when I'd looked to do the editing the next day, mate, there was nothing on there. It was like 15 seconds, and then just a load of me looking at a camera that was recording but no sound, and you staring into space with no sound.
I mean, that's normally what I do anyway, you know what I mean? But just like...
So, yeah, look, it was what it was. We tried it, and it was a shame because your mum and dad's living room was actually quite a nice setup.
It's just shit Wi-Fi.
We looked sophisticated, didn't we? Nice, nice chairs.
Yeah, sure.
But
sophisticated for a couple of wrestling nerds anyway. You know what I mean?
Wi-Fi sorted deep with mum and dad.
Come on, mum. Sorry, mum. I didn't mean to point. You know, actually fucking scares me a little bit. You know what I mean? But
right, Dino, we better get started. But before we get started, you've got to tell everyone something.
I've got to tell you something, guys. I've got to tell you from the truth. We appreciate all the support. We appreciate, but if you haven't, you need to like this page. You need to subscribe to this page. And we know everyone is busy. You know what I mean? Like you ain't got time to sit and watch something, but you have got them beautiful earphones you can put in. You know what I mean? And we are available on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Audible, and Spotify. Now, Steve-O, let's get crack-a-lacking with the show because we've got a lot to talk about.
We've got a lot to talk about. What do you want to talk about? Where should we start? I'll tell you.
Cody,
right. Yeah.
What do you want to talk about?
Right, let's start. Because it's fresh off the bat, right? And it's pointless going back 2 weeks. A lot's happened. We will talk about stuff that's happened in the last 2 weeks, naturally, but we've got to start with SummerSlam, right?
Yeah.
It happened a few days ago. Night 1, night 2. I feel like that is the place to start. Now, before we get into it, I've done a little bit of research. I'm just gonna set the scene. I'm gonna set the scene for myself, basically, because you know what I'm like with WWE. I'm just gonna give you a little bit of information, right? So I've done some research based around, because I think this is everything that's happened, good and bad, has all been because of the ticket sales, right? Everything that's happened over the last 4 weeks has all been about ticket sales, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Like the matches that were booked, the storylines, a few things being rushed, some storylines being completely tweaked, like Oba winning King of the Ring and then all of a sudden saying, oh yeah, I'll just give that up for another match with Brock. It's all been about ticket sales, right? So these are the crucial numbers. Night 1, the reported attendance, 35,759. Night 2, which I thought they definitely seemed louder. I thought there was more in there than night 2. Apparently there was less people night 2. They obviously spent all their money night 1.
There you go.
They obviously spent all their money on night 1 and maybe couldn't afford to go back for night 2, but 32,293, right? So total attendance over the weekend, literally just over 68,000, right? Now, you look at that and go, okay, yeah, that's not a bad number, but let's bear in mind that
if there's a
lot of these people are attending both nights, right? They're buying packages where they're working out the cheapest package and they're going for both nights. So really, it seems like 68,000 people, but a lot of them are doubled up. So it's not really 68,000 people. The year before, and I didn't even know this until I looked it up, over the 2 nights last year, 113,000. That's so they're basically at 60% of what they was last year.
I mean, that's crazy.
So they've dropped 40% attendance in 1 year.
It's just the ticket prices now are just ridiculous, you know. And like we said it the other week, it's like things need to change, you know, because people still haven't got the money anymore. It's like, you know, it's one thing to like, you know, to pay for a ticket yourself. Imagine if you got two kids that like wrestling. Like, hey, how can you afford that? And it's like the lengths, and they sort of like, I don't know, like it was a great SummerSlam, but I feel like it was rushed, and it should have just been a great SummerSlam. Where I felt like, yes, it was a great SummerSlam, but it felt thrown together and very rushed, and it felt cheap, like, you know. And there's even the point, it won't mean anything to you, Justin Jefferson is the star player for the Minnesota Vikings, obviously playing that stadium. So they got him to come out and sort of like do an advert and say, I'll use the code like Jet, because his nickname's the Jet.
Right.
And he's like, you know, use the code Jet and you get $25 tickets and that. It'd be like the equivalent of having like, you know, a show at like Olympic Stadium, you know, and you say Jared Bowen like comes out and says, you know, oh no, guys, you got to do this, you know, like it just
Right.
wouldn't happen, would it? It's very desperate.
I don't think we're putting Jared Bowen on the level of some of these NFL players.
There's a lot
of all the names for you to
No, I was going to say Arsenal and I was going to say Declan Rice, but I thought you could let me have my moment.
You couldn't bring yourself to say it, could you?
No, I couldn't.
Couldn't bring yourself to say Declan Rice.
No.
I know.
We'll see when we've got that lovely playoff trophy next year, mate. Oh, yeah, we'll see who's laughing.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not going to disagree with anything you said, apart from maybe one thing. I wouldn't use the word great to describe the SummerSlam, but, you know, it was what it was. And look, this is where I'm at with it. Night one, and this is where I think you could tell that they got so desperate to get bums in seats. There was 100% pockets of the crowd where they had practically given the tickets away, and these people had never seen a wrestling event in their fucking life, right? They did not know what was going on. They didn't join in with any of the chants or the entrances, you know, the songs. They didn't have a clue what was going on. They were basically just pushed in that direction. Would you like to come and see?
Areas we
just like, you know, it reminded, it was a bit, it just seemed mediocre, mate. It was a bit Blackpool. It was a bit like, oh, come in, have a free ticket. Come in and see the show. That's what it reminded me of. That's what it reminded me of. People fighting, you know, like, you know, you've got people just walking up and down, haven't you, Blackpool seafront. Yeah. You've got people fighting to bring people in. Oh yeah, have 2 tickets. You know, come and see the show. We've got a magician on, and that's what it sort of gave me that thing. WWE shouldn't be doing that. SummerSlams just used to sell out. Like they would be sold out months before the event. You were lucky to get a ticket if someone had one for sale on eBay or something. You'd be paying twice as much for it. So what has happened with this shift, I don't know. But what I'm saying is, for me, it was clear to see what had happened, right? Their sales were down massively and they just literally bought anyone in. Now, all right, in the long term, you could argue that, say, if you were someone that wasn't planning on going to watch SummerSlam and somebody gave you, you know, some tickets practically for $10 and you took the kids, and now they might become wrestling fans. They might have absolutely loved it. Great. I think, yeah, that's one way of getting new fans in, I guess. The question is did those people enjoy themselves enough to jump from that $10 ticket that you might have given them on the day to paying $400? You know, that's a process, right? Before you get to that point of paying that kind of money, there's a process there. You have to fall in love with the product. You're not going to get that just off of watching one live event, in my opinion. But yeah, look, we're gonna get into night one and night two, because very, very different. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'm agree. I'm sure we're on the same wavelength for this. I thought night 2 was a lot more of a solid event, you know, and I said night 2 was definitely the most solid event. What should we start with, night 1?
Well, I was going to start with night 1. Yeah. I'll sum it up in one word, mate. Forgettable. Night 1 for me.
Even Punk Cody was disappointing, wasn't it?
Yeah. We'll go. I mean, I think let's start. We'll start with the top, and we can talk about a couple of the other matches. But I mean, I couldn't even reel off the card to you, mate. That's how forgettable it was. I was actually struggling today when I was writing my notes, thinking, what were the matches on night 1 again? And and it was only Saturday, so There was no emotional attachment to any of these matches whatsoever. And I sort of almost feel sorry for Cody and Punk, because I think that match on paper deserved so much more than what it was.
It didn't have a good build-up, did it? And it had that's what I'm saying. This is what I was saying earlier. It felt rushed. It felt put together. And you didn't really know, it was like the week before you had that sort of you've never liked me since day one. But there weren't this big build and this, why are they fighting each other or this hatred, was there? There was just it was just very put together, come together last minute. And it was because, I think they thought, shit, they shit the bed a little bit and said we're going to have, no offense to Sami Zayn, he's going to be the champion, right? And we're going to charge $250 to go for someone in to see it. You know what I mean? People didn't want to pay that. So then what did they do? They put Punk in the event, they put Cody in the event, and they didn't really have a true storyline to it, did they? This was WrestleMania's main event, wasn't it? I reckon.
I think. We've been saying that. We've been saying that for weeks and weeks. I think they brought forward the main events of WrestleMania because the ticket and look, and I also read this. The ticket sales shifted. So when they reduced the prices massively, they did shift about another 8,000 tickets. So the tickets were sitting at the high 20,000s.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Each night. So they did sort of save face a little bit, but I still think that is poor, right? As a poor attendance for a SummerSlam. And when you drop 40% in 1 year, ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, that's ringing alarm bells.
Yeah.
Right? Your product, people are not buying it.
It's the product, but
they're not willing to pay the
product, but it's the prices as well.
It's
the prices are ridiculous.
Look, I mean, sometimes when I'm watching,
it's look, I still love watching WWE, right, wrong, or different. I still watch it every week. But it's Raw when it was in London, I got offered the tickets and I'm like, £250, I'm not paying that. I mean, it's just ridiculous. As big of a wrestling fan as I am, I'm going to see AEW. I paid, 30 quid, 40 quid for my ticket. And it's I'm buzzing to see that. And it's going to be a massive pay-per-view. And I'm going to see a Monday Night Raw for £250. No, thank you. It's just, by the time I go down there, have a few beers, pay my train fare, what am I doing, £400? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
A bit of food in.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Look, so when I'm watching WWE pay-per-views at the minute, I get very much bogged down in the whole, I hate all the adverts, and because that ruins the experience for me. So I'm already on a bit of a downer. As soon as I've got maybe round to the second match, I think the pay-per-view's been on an hour and we're literally coming up to match 2 because they've added so many adverts in. And I thought afterwards, no, do you know what? Maybe I was being too critical. So I thought, let's see what other people have said. And I thought, I'll read a couple of reports and I'll read some match gradings and see, was it me just being grumpy and too harsh? So I had a look at the Belcher report, mate. Highest grade on night 1, a B+. And that was for the 2 main events. That was for Cody and Punk and Oba and Brock, right? B+. So, and the rest of them were C's. Might have been a B- in there. And so, yeah, it wasn't just me. Basically, the people that have written the reports and written the dirt sheets and all that sort of stuff are seeing it the same way. Night 1 was very, very forgettable.
It was a weird one. It was the Oba Brock match. I thought it weren't the match. There was some interesting points in the match, but it's just I don't know, you needed that Paul Heyman heel turn or something mad's happening in it, and it was just the fact afterwards, Brock, he's all right, give him a hug, and it was well, what do we just go for all that for? I don't know, just yeah.
Well, so just to sort of come back to Cody and Punk, I just want to say before we move on to Brock and Oba, mate, I completely agree with you that I felt I've got exactly the same things in my notes. I thought the story was a bit poor and it felt rushed. And the main thing that I put that for me, and I felt like this is why the crowd were flat as well, is it lacked emotion. There was no emotion in the match. There was no, none of the near falls or anything like that really kind of got me. Nothing made me pop in the match. Nothing made me...
I mean, the one thing was Randy coming back, wasn't it?
But do you know what? I could not give 2 shits. They done that. That's dead. They done it at Mania. It was shit. And do you know what? I think they've made a massive, massive fucking error reminding everyone that was even a thing, Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, because that was so fucking shit, that WrestleMania match with Pat McAfee. Why they would want to bring that up after that's all calmed down now and people have almost forgotten about it. Why the fuck would you want to bring that shit round again and go back to Orton versus Cody? I don't get that at all. I mean, and again, do you know what that stunk of for me? We can't beat Cody clean. We can't have Punk beat Cody clean.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
Cody
all
Hogan.
That shit was all about.
Cody Hogan.
Yeah, can't beat him clean. Why not? Punk had just won the belt. Cody has had the belt. He doesn't need the belt. Just have Punk beat him clean. And then you can tell that story again later on down the line, right? That Punk's the one that Cody can't beat, right? That sets you up for a story. But no, now Cody's got an excuse. So what? So we have a rematch? We have another Punk-Cody match come in straight away? Because it wasn't a clean win? Dog shit ending again. Poor booking for me, mate. Poor booking. Anyway, over Brock. Look, it had the build. We can't argue it didn't have the build because we're going back to the Royal Rumble, right? That's when they first stood face to face, Brock and Ober in the Royal Rumble. So it had the build from Royal Rumble, then the challenge at Mania, the whole Brock retiring at Mania, the gloves off, Brock's gone. The comeback, the Clash in Italy match, we're at 1-1. I would say it had the story and stuff like that. I thought the promos and stuff recently have been good. I don't dislike any of that. I never liked Ober giving up his King of the Ring shot because I just thought, well, what was the point in having a King of the Ring if he was going to just give it up?
Yeah, that whole thing was mad, wasn't it?
And do you know what? I didn't mind the match. I thought the match was all right.
Yeah.
I thought it was decent. I liked the fact that they both got a little bit of their offense in. They both kind of kicked out of their, some of their better moves. I like the fact that Brock tried to take it to another level by, ripping up the ring mat and doing a tombstone, because that takes you back to the Brock Taker sort of Hell in a Cell matches. I like that, the tombstone on the wooden balls. My main grumble, mate, is why the fuck did there need to be a cell there?
No, I do agree. It was just, look, it's again, isn't it? Would this match have happened? Would this match have happened if the ticket sales would have been higher again? Would it have happened, or would we have had Femi against someone? I don't know. Like,
yeah,
I just think we would have had a very different looking SummerSlam if the tickets would have been better.
I mean, this match for me would have been better just as a no holds barred match. I didn't see the need to have that cell there for it not to be used in any kind of way, right? I thought at the very least, bearing in mind that these two guys, mate, are fucking massive, isn't they? I mean, you look at the size of the pair of them and look, hats off to Brock. That guy is just incredible in terms of the shape that he's in at his age.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. How easy would it have been for one of them to have thrown the other one through the cage? Like back.
Oh, man, that would have been a cool spot. That would have been a cool spot. Through the cage.
Yeah, so it opens it up and you go on the outside. And look, and I ain't saying Brock and Ober climb up to the top and start doing
you don't Mick Foley,
shit,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Right? I'm not saying that.
No, because I don't think anyone but Mick Foley does Mick Foley shit.
But what I'm saying is we could have done a little bit of, Vince McMahon, Rikishi stuff. There could have been a spot.
Well, you could have had the sawdust. They could have had the sawdust in the
I'm not saying do that exact spot, but I'm saying, but there could have been something set up there. They might have been halfway up a cage, and someone comes down. I think it's the same.
I think, to be honest with you, the Hell in a Cell match has been very lackluster. The last few I remember. I mean, back in the day, there was, every Hell in a Cell match, there was always a high spot where you remember at least one or two high spots in a match. You remember whether you're talking about Cactus Jack, Triple H, whether you're talking about Mankind Undertaker, Shawn Michaels Undertaker. Like, there was always some kind of high spot, but now it's just, it got done a bit too much. I think they killed that. They sort of killed the Hell in a Cell a little bit when they done the pay-per-view and they done a few on the same night. Yeah. And it didn't didn't have the same feel. And I was excited when when we got the announcement. It was hell, when I sell, I thought, maybe we're going back to the old school here. We're going to have something special. But no, it just felt like the same lackluster Hell in a Cell that they've been for the last few years,
I just didn't think that they used the cage enough. It wasn't used as a weapon. No one had their head grated along it. There was no. Brock didn't bleed. Oba didn't bleed. I mean, how good would it have been? I got no problem with the result, right? I think we all knew that Oba was going to be the one that gets put over here, and Brock, I think, has retired based on what they were showing on Raw. I think that is it. He's done. They haven't actually said it, but the way they were talking is it's like now he is retired. But what if Brock on his way out was the first guy to make Obafemi see his own blood? Do you know what I mean? You tell that little story, Obafemi, he's as great as he is. No one's ever made him bleed, but fucking Brock can still take it to that level. It just lacks something. And also, I was convinced that Paul Heyman would have a part in this match, right? We thought that there was going to be maybe like a Paul Heyman turn, but even if he wasn't turning, normally Paul Heyman, when he's at a match, whether it's with with a tribal chief or with Brock Lesnar or whoever it is that he's with, Heyman gets involved, right? Heyman doesn't go. I mean, look at that triple threat match at Mania, not last year, but the year before. You know how they built him into the storyline with Punk and Seth and Roman. What was the point in Paul Heyman being there?
No.
He stood outside the cage, didn't get involved in it at all.
I was really hoping, I was really hoping for the Paul Heyman heel turn on him, but I think that's coming now because I think they look like they're going to put Braun Breaker against Obafemi, and it looks like they're going to do it now. Do you know what I mean? I reckon that's going to be the case.
We'll come back to
We'll come back to it. I know I don't want to jump ahead, but I'll see it. I have to call it when I see it,
Yeah. No, I'm not going to disagree with you.
I think that's it. I see one of those cool memes actually the other day, and it was, that meme where it's like the guy with his hot girlfriend, but then there's even a hotter girl walks past. He does the little turn, but it's Paul Heyman with Braun Breaker and Obafemi walks past. And I thought, I could see that. I forgot to send that to you.
Yeah. So I mean, look, we could have still been on the right lines, but I suppose it was just a bit disappointing. And look, my last little grumble, really, and I get it. If he was retiring, he wants to give a little speech, but I hate it, right? Because I am more of a traditionalist wrestling fan. I hate it when guys break character for no payoff, right? If you break character like CM Punk back in the day, right? Do you remember that promo that he had with Triple H? And he said that this is me, Phil Hardin, is it?
Phil Brooks.
Phil
Brooks.
Talking to Paul Levesque, right?
Yeah.
That was done for a reason. He didn't break character for no effect, right? He done it because it was all part of the pipe bomb and it was all part of his image. So that's fine. But for Brock Lesnar, right, the fucking beast, to completely break character and be hugging him and shaking his hand and this is the future and I'm the past, and no payoff, no Paul Heyman. Even if Paul Heyman snuck up behind him and fucking gave him a low blow at the end or something, I would have gone, amazing.
Yeah.
No payoff to it at all. It just sucks, mate. I'm sorry. That is just poor. That is poor because you're talking about a 25-year man that has been the best, right? I don't think people can love it, like him or hate him, Brock Lesnar. You cannot deny what that guy has done over a 25-year period in terms of how believable he's been as a character.
Well, I know, kick anyone.
He is the most believable badass, isn't he? That I think there's ever been. Beyond the, I would say, goes beyond the Undertaker. The Undertaker had, the Phenom character, but when he was the American badass, he sort of had that thing about him, didn't he? He had that no nonsense, no shit. But Brock was different level to that as being a badass, and you've let him go out with a whimper.
Yeah,
I just don't agree with it, mate. But anyway, moving on to better things, because Night 2, mate, chalk and cheese, right? It was almost like two different Two different companies, right? One's done a show on a Saturday night and one's done a show on a Sunday night. I thought night 2 was really good and it felt like a SummerSlam to me. Night 2 had loads of little moments that you would remember and you would probably go back and watch again, right? And I have actually watched some of them again already. The number 1 contenders match, Finn Balor against Sami Zayn. I was actually looking forward to that just as a one-on-one. I thought that was going to be a good match between them two. I quite like the little twist, you know. Aldis comes out. He's been beaten by Gunther the previous night. Gunther's now in the match. It's a triple threat. Okay, I thought it's a way of keeping Gunther in that title picture. I think I would have rather have seen Sami and Finn go one-on-one rather than that triple threat. But then he upped it a level, didn't he?
Yeah, and I mean, I was fucking buzzing for it. I was like this, for about, my jaw was on the floor at one point, like, you know, see KO back, you know what I mean? Where's Kevin Owens been? It's just great, man. Like, it's just the music, like, and it just come out there, just like, yeah, I was buzzing for it.
Yeah, big moment. And look, and the crowd reacted to it, right? Because what it done is it then set the tone for the rest of the show. Whereas I think night 1 started with Liv and Io Sky. And I think that was the wrong match to kick off SummerSlam with because the crowd was flat and it never really got going, right? But this, straight away, big moment, the crowd went for it. And mate, what a match. Like, I don't always like 4-ways or 3-way matches because sometimes I think they get a bit slow, you know, like when they're doing like the sort of the rest spots and stuff like that. But this was full on, wasn't it? This all 4 of these really, I thought, I don't think I could fault it. I thought it was a really good 4-way match that was fast paced. Everyone hit their best stuff. And I suppose if you're bringing back Kevin Owens, it's hard not to give him the win, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had to. I felt for our guy Finn. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause I thought this was like, especially like, you know, watching Finn the night on SmackDown on the Friday, you know, he was saying about, you know, and it just felt fitting that he was talking about SummerSlam, like, you know, was it 8 years ago? And he said, I come out and it was like the greatest night of my life. Then it turned into the worst night of my life. And it was such a great promo. And I thought it just fit in, you know, for like Finn's finally going to get used. I just like, we was talking about, weren't we? I feel like Finn is just so hard to use at WWE. I mean, like, you know, he's never had that, you know, apart from that one night and he had the injury, you know, he's never had like a real, like a run like, you know, he's had like a title. But it's like, I just feel like we was talking about how good he would be in AEW, weren't we? We think Finn like an AEW with Omega and Ospreay. Imagine those matches.
I was thinking about potential matches he could have. And there is like a list of 20 guys that he could have an absolute banger with, you know, like you say, starting at the top, Omega, Ospreay. He could have a great match with someone like Carl Fletcher. He would have a great match with a Takeshita, an Okada, you know, like the Jet, Darby Allin. There are just so little MJF. There are so many. Like, I'd say literally anyone in the top or mid card in AEW, Finn Balor would have a banger with. Even Pac.
I feel for Finn.
I'd love to see Finn Balor versus Pac.
I feel for Finn. I feel like he should have definitely had like a lengthier title run, you know, like in the last few years.
Yeah. I think it's time.
He's so over his fucking.
But I think he's contracted, mate, until about, I think he's got another 3 years or something to run. And the only way I can see him getting out is if they decide that he's not going to be used as a top guy and they want to cut his salary, and it will be like a New Day situation where they say, right, we want you to take a 50% pay cut, and if you refuse it, it's a mutual termination of your contract. And that's the only way he gets out, which like is not impossible because they're not using him in the right way, are they, really?
No, definitely not.
I've got a little theory. I don't know whether you'd agree with this. Do you think that the Gunther and Kevin Owens was a last-minute decision? And when I say last-minute, I mean a decision between the end of night 1 and the start of night 2.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, have they had KO in the pipeline for a while? Like,
I think there's been reports that he's fit. and that he's been back in training.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering whether because Punk has sort of finished his little feud with Cody, and clearly Cody's now distracted with Randy. So I can imagine, let's say that didn't happen. Let's say it was just Finn and Sami Zayn, right? I can imagine CM Punk comes out on Friday Night SmackDown, says look, I beat Cody, blah, 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 put that to bed now. I'm going to be a fighting champion. Typical Punk, who's next sort of thing. And then KO's music drops and the crowd go mad, and it's like he steps up. And
Well, ain't the number one contender anyway now.
Well, he is. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so
that's what makes me think. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what. Can't make up my mind whether they felt that we need to do something big because night one was poor, and we got to do something big. I'll tell you that the thing that's making me think it is because Gunther already had a match. Why did he have a match on night one and on night two? And why bring him into the match on night two if he wasn't going to win it?
Yeah.
That's what I can't get in my head.
No,
why not just have KO come out and it's a free?
No, I don't understand.
Unless the Gunther thing was just a way of throwing people off for a second, when they do that and it's like, oh, Gunther's coming down and you're sort of on a bit of a downer. I was like, oh no, it's Gunther. And then all of a sudden that makes the pop bigger for KO.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the only justification I can give to it. It's just something's just not sitting right with me. And I'm wondering, it wouldn't surprise me if that was we need to fucking do something on night two and it's got to be at the start.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I ain't complaining though, because I can't.
Oh, it was great.
And look, how good did he look?
No, he looked good. I love the fact that he does the stunner as well.
What's that?
Didn't you just love the fact that he does the stunner as well? He's bringing the stunner back. That's great, isn't it?
Yeah. So, and again, he cuts a great promo and he's a good storyteller.
He's believable as well, and he's like, you know what he is? He's like that. He's got that Stone Cold vibe about him. He's like, looks like an everyman. He like sort of guy you'd like, have a drink in a bar with, doesn't he? You know what I mean?
The only thing is, though, I like him as a heel.
Yeah, I do too.
And they are short of heels, but he's clearly coming back as a face because. They tend to do that when someone comes back from injury.
Well, everyone wants to see him. It's hard to make someone a heel when everyone wants to see him.
We've got another. Who's turning? Someone's got to turn, mate.
Yeah, it's got to be Punk, maybe.
Punk's got to turn, or Cody's got to turn. Someone's got to turn. They've got no heels.
Yeah, I agree.
Someone's got to turn. But yeah, look, good start to the show. Second match, Trick versus Corbin. An okay, average match. It was all right. Baron Corbin looked okay. Again, he's a heel that they desperately needed a heel to come in that mid-card. I was a bit disappointed that Trick lost that belt.
Fur belt as well, like the
legacy belt that he only had for a few weeks.
And we was both saying, we thought that was a bit weird, isn't it? Like, how comes they've got this legacy belt? And we thought we was going to go on a run like John Cena did with his legacy US title spinner. He had it for nearly a year, and it's like, don't know, but then I don't know, now I'm thinking, well, you're going to put him in the title picture, but then obviously Kevin Owens is going to be in the title picture now. So I don't really know where they're going with Trick, but I don't understand now. I've never really been a big Baron Corbin guy, to be honest.
No, I haven't, but I think he serves a purpose. Basically, what I would say with Baron Corbin is when he comes out, you are not confused as to what it is that he's about, right? He's a big dude. A big, strong heel.
Yeah.
Right? And you need, and there's no singing along to any theme tunes, right? So he has an entrance. He's a fucking straightforward entrance. No fucking about. No one, getting excited, doing,
Yeah, I know you guys.
It's not just the eating, mate. It's all of them that have got the entrance. Everyone that's got an entrance, they have got a massive problem with at the minute. They can't get them to come across as a heel. Even Jacob Fatu. And look, we're going to come back. We'll come back to that. Come back to that. But like Gunther's literally the only one, and that's because you can't cheer along to his entrance music, can you? It's a cleverly done entrance. There is no cheer or chant that you do to it. It's just Gunther, right? You know what you're getting from him, and there's a psychology, mate. In wrestling, there is a psychology now to the entrances. And WWE have fucked some of it up because they've gone too far with the merch and all that sort of stuff, and you can't spin it around. It's like, I thought they could turn Trick Williams heel because there's reports that maybe Little Yachty might have done his time. He might
Yeah,
have
I haven't seen him about the last couple of weeks, have we?
He did. Also, he did do a massive botch. I don't know if you saw this or if you picked up.
No.
But during that match, there was a spot where he hit Baron Corbin with a kendo stick. But Baron Corbin was supposed to do like a run off the rope, and Little Yachty was supposed to get him. But he sort of went over to the rope. Little Yachty was out of position, and Baron Corbin spotted it, and he sort of done this waiting thing, and he was leaning on the rope. And at one point, you can actually hear it clearly. Baron Corbin says, "Yachty," to get his attention, like to jog his memory.
Oh,
and
shit,
then he was like, "Oh, fuck." And then he hit him with a stick.
Yeah.
But it just looked bad. It looked weird. And I thought, so I watched it back. I watched it twice. It was definitely a botch. Now, like they don't like that, do they?
No.
When stuff like that happens, you're in the shit with gorilla position.
Yeah. Tripp's going to get you. You're in the pedigree, probably. Yeah.
So I was thinking, right, if these reports are true and they're thinking about bringing him away from Little Yachty, maybe he does a turn on Little Yachty. You don't have to have a storyline with have a match or anything, but you just turn Trick Williams heel because he was heel anyway, wasn't he? And to be honest, he's not like a super baby face, is he?
No, because he's got that arrogance to him. He's got that flair vibe to him. He's like, sort of like this and that, showing off, showboating. Like, you could turn that heel.
With that entrance, have they now fucked themselves again?
Yeah, whoop that trick. Everyone will do it.
How can you turn the guy heel?
No.
You turn him heel, and they're still going to scream the arena down every time.
I'm not being funny, though. Everyone wants to say level.
And I would, mate. And I would do it as well because I love I think the entrance is one of the best entrances in wrestling. The way that he comes on and he just spins around with that little
trick,
disc.
Yeah.
But again, it's great. But now you've got another guy that you can't turn heel.
Yeah, there is no clear heels.
It don't work, right? Because they still cheer him anyway.
But you're right, Steve. There is no clear heels.
So it's tough.
Where have all the heels gone?
Where have all the heels gone? Where's your Sergeant Slaughters?
That's the name of the show right there. It's got to be. Where has all the heels gone?
Where has all the heels gone? Whatever happened to all the heels?
Where have all the heels gone?
The Stranglers? Whatever happened?
Yeah, whatever happened to us? Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Hang on.
They're all in WWE as well, they all are, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see where that goes. But I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe we have said this though as well, that sometimes once someone loses the belt and the chase for it again makes it a bit more interesting. So I don't know, maybe he'll be the 2-time US champ, within a couple.
Maybe, yeah, I could see that because I don't know, maybe he's not quite at the world title picture yet, and he will be, but he's the one for the future. But maybe he's got another year under his belt. I feel, yeah, maybe that'll be him chasing Corbin.
Yeah,
and like the big win, the big payoff. Maybe that elevates him more. I don't know. That makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, you got to remember, like, I know you're not his biggest fan. He was always my guy. Guys like Bret Hart won the IC title twice.
Look, got nothing against the geezers wrestling. I just think he's a miserable prick. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Like, how can you be that unhappy in life? You know what I mean? Shit happens in life.
He got screwed. He got screwed, Dino. He got screwed. He can't let it go.
He's either angry at Ric Flair. He's angry at Christoph. He's angry at Hulk Hogan. So let it go, man. Isn't it? Just let your anger go. You know what I mean?
He should have won that match against Shawn.
Yeah, well, I should have done a lot of things in life. Fuck it, innit? You know what I mean? If I had a pussy, I'd be an auntie, as they say.
Is that PG?
I don't think so, no. I don't think many people will watch this. I think we're all older male generate. I mean, I'll be for everyone, but...
Anyway, coming back to my point, he won the IC title twice before they elevated him onto the world title.
Yeah.
Right? So he won it. He lost it to the Mountie.
The Mountie, really?
And then I think Roddy Piper...
I mean, the Mountie was over, though, wasn't he? I mean,
yeah, he was at the time, massively.
He looks mad now when you look back at it, but...
Yeah. Do you know they won't put him in the Hall of Fame? They fucked him off. He was I listened to him on a podcast recently, and he's not like he's sort of over it, but he still hurts him because
That's sad though. Why?
because as a character, I think he was a massive part of that part of wrestling. You know, the people that grew up watching it in that generation, in that sort of real late 80s, early 90s. You know, the Mountie was a massive character, and then he was part of the Quebecers. Yeah, weird. I don't know. I think it was to do with how he left. And there's one of them that they've never forgiven him. They won't put him in the Hall of Fame.
Was he the one
It's a
that
little bit
was he the one
tribute.
that hit Dynamite Kid? There's that backstage thing where he hit Dynamite Kid with a penny duster. So
I don't know, mate.
I'm sure it was him.
Don't know. Anyway, we digress. Yeah, Brett won the belt off of. So Piper beat the Mountie. Brett then won it back off of Piper, and then he eventually lost it to Bulldog, and then that was it. And he was done with the IC title. So
Maybe he got the Bret Hart.
yeah. He had this sort of 12-month affair with the IC title, and then he elevated him on. So maybe they'll do something like that.
That makes sense to me. That
12,
makes sense
12
to me.
months. Yeah, Cena done the same thing, right? It was like it was like 6 to 9 months, wasn't it? 6 to 9 months in that US title picture, then elevated to the top. So maybe they're going down that route. Right, next thing that I've got written on here for nights. Oh, Chelsea Green. Yeah, I thought that was pretty good as well.
Yeah, I like Chelsea Green.
It was a decent match.
You can tell she's a proper wrestling fan as well, and she puts all her things. Why is this like on that?
We called this, didn't we? Might have been as far back as a couple of months.
Yeah.
Yeah, we said that we liked what they were doing with Chelsea Green. I'm wondering whether there's a bit of guilt there, mate, because you've seen the documentary, haven't you? You know that, is it Unreal?
Yeah.
So, you know, there was that bit where, who was it? It was Hayes, wasn't it? Hayes was sort of pushing for Chelsea Green to go on and do bigger things, and Triple H just basically shot it down. And I think that made him look bad. I think there was a lot of people that didn't like that.
Yeah, I mean, she's put a lot of work in, isn't she, Chelsea Green?
A lot of work. She's great, Chelsea Green. So now he's, you know, maybe he's got to eat a bit of humble pie there and go, okay, I was wrong. I didn't think that, you know, because he was very much like, no, this is Chelsea's ceiling, and she, you know, and she can't be elevated into that main event title picture. Well, a year on, and that's where she is. So he was wrong.
Yeah.
And she'd had a bit of time out as well, where she was off TV.
Yeah, it was a solid match, that women's ladder match, wasn't it?
Yeah, decent. And she'll be a good character to carry that title on TV until Rhea Ripley's back. They clearly don't want to go through that story again of Rhea Ripley having to work her way up the ladder, because otherwise they would have just got her to surrender the belt like they've done before. Yeah. But they're, you know, so as soon as she's back, you just have a unification match and she wins it, and she stays as top dog. What's your view on this, mate, before I go off on one? Danhausen for the last 3 weeks.
I didn't like the match. I know I like the Danhausen comedy stuff, like the backstage kids, but I don't get. For me, Dominic Mysterio.
Did you like the concert, the Danhausen concert with?
No, I did not. No, Joe Hendry.
Joe Hendry.
I did not know. No, I think it's been a bit. I don't know. I think he's got a bit too far now. Danhausen. I'm not a fan, and like I was a bit. And now I'm like, I think they've overdone him. But one thing that's really annoyed me is like, yeah, Dominic Mysterio, Dirty Dominic. For me, we were saying 3 months ago, was probably the fucking biggest heel, and like we're saying, a company that's crying out for legitimate fucking heels. And you've just made him look fucking stupid. And, you know, you've got, you know, his hot girlfriend, Liv Morgan, with him. And it's like, you know, he's such a believable character. You could push to the moon. But.
And it's like you're going to try and now push him back into a picture with Chad Gable. How do you make him credible again?
No, it's just don't. You just don't do it. It's just like, I don't know. It's just for me, for a bit of laugh, comedy factor, you know, you don't do that to Dirty Dom Mysterio, you know.
Yeah.
It's been red hot as a hill.
I thought that thing that he done with Joe Hendry was fucking appalling, man. I just thought that was absolute dog shit.
It was bad.
It felt like I was watching fucking CBeebies again.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. And I've done that for enough years, right? Done it twice, watched through CBeebies. I ain't doing it again. And that's what it reminded me of, right? They look like the fucking Wiggles standing up there. It was just shit.
In the night garden.
Shit with a capital S. I think what they've done is, unfortunately, Danhausen's got a little gimmick. It's took off. They've crammed it down everyone's throat. They got very lucky with the curse, with the lifting the curse with the basketball, with the
Yeah, that was great. Great TV.
names
Wasn't
gone
it?
out. New York
Knicks.
for the Knicks. They got very lucky with that, and now their luck's run out because now they're trying to cram shit that people. I don't think people want to see this. I think this is dog shit, and I'll put in my notes. He is no Santino Marella, and he is no R-Truth. Right? There's going to be no longevity if they keep doing this. I don't even think he lasts.
It's too childlike. It's too childish.
I don't even think he lasts till the end of the year.
Yeah.
If they keep taking it to this point. I mean, how many more times you're going to bring the midgets out? The same midgets anymore? Little people.
Yeah, God knows.
How many more times they're going to bring them out?
Yeah.
And they ain't no hornswoggle, are they?
No, they ain't no hornswoggle, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Dodgy ground for me, the Danhausen thing. Not sure. Gable.
Yeah, that guy. What a moment. You know what? It was like the Davey Boy Smith moment, wasn't it? Because it was, it was like the Davey Boy Smith winning the Intercontinental title at Wembley. It was the same sort of thing, wasn't it? Where, he's in Minnesota, his wife's in the crowd, his kids are in the crowd, his mum and dad are in the crowd. His mum's got the Chad Gable #1 fan, his dad's got the Chad Gable #2. It was just a fucking wholesome moment, and you could tell it meant a lot to him, it meant a lot to his family, and it was just great, wasn't it? It was just fantastic.
Yeah. I wasn't keen on his new entrance song to begin with, but it's grown on me, actually.
Yeah. It's very
it's got an 80s vibe about it.
It's very best of the best, isn't it? Like pop it, like cheesy. I expect to see someone fucking training with a montage.
It's a bit Karate Kid, like you're the best around. Yeah. It's grown on me. It was solid match. I expected nothing less from them two because Penta's a great wrestler. Has been for years.
They're fucking hell, and I mean, what a build to the story because we've been building money with the was it El Grande Americano, he tried to be a luchador and he upset the luchadors, he apologized to the luchadors, and then you have this big payoff where Penta accepts him and he puts the title around him. It was a wholesome moment. It was great. This is what we're talking about. That listen WWE creative, that was a fucking great build. Cody Punk was not a great build, that you're talking about a year storyline, over a year storyline that's culminated into this moment, and that's why it was wholesome, and that's why everyone got behind it. You sort of put something in the oven, you let it cook, you didn't take it out before it was ready. And it was like, that's what I felt happened with Cody Punk, that's what happened with Brock Over, but that isn't what happened with Chad Gable.
I just wish Chad Gable was like 5 years younger, mate. Like it felt
he's still got time though. He's in great shape.
He's in great. Yeah, you can't argue with that. He's in great shape.
We just need that man Kurt Angle to come out.
He hasn't had the same neck problems that Kurt had at that kind of age. But yeah, it does feel like they dragged their feet with it, didn't they? For a guy as talented as that, it does really.
Oh man, he's had a lot of shit, and I mean, the El Grande Americano. He made it work because that is him. He's so good at that stuff. It's like Kurt Angle back in the day. You always keep comparing him to him, but he made it his own, and I was fucking loving the El Grande Americano until he got injured. Then like Ludwig Kaiser was him, and that I didn't like that, but I was liking El Grande because he made it hilarious. He was like, I'm not, but it was just he's comedy genius. Like how fucking Kurt Angle could make wearing a silly cowboy at work or like a milk truck or that. It's the same thing. He has that talent, but before that he was the Shorty G when he was in American Alpha, the tag team, and it was like, it's finally now it's starting to make sense, isn't it?
I think that's an example of having to pivot on something and change something, mate, and sort of getting it right, because they could have, when he got injured, they could have just dropped that whole gimmick, that whole story thing, but they done well to keep it going. And I think once they'd done it, as in like you say, the Ludwig Kaiser coming out as like,
there's a few on there.
He's the real sort of
El Grande Americano.
I think it came together in the end. It was one that they managed to get right. It wasn't straightforward, but I like, yeah, I can't argue. I've liked what they've done with it, and I do like Chad Gable, and I can see him. I can see some good matches, but again, it's about finding the right people for him. We'll have a discussion about that a little bit later on when we talk about Raw. But what else have we got? Oh, okay, so main event time, right? So, well, I'll let you go first, Seth, because you are like Roman's your guy, isn't he? You like Roman. Seth and Roman. What did you think? Main event.
Absolutely loved it. I thought it was a fantastic match, and I thought maybe apart from the Punk match at Mania, it was probably Roman's best match, and that is like the ability of Seth, just make him look great. I like Roman, he isn't, he isn't fucking, he isn't Shawn Michaels, he isn't Bret Hart in ring, he isn't Daniel Bryan, but he's a big man, and like you look at fucking John Cena was a legend. He was over, and like John Cena had 5 or 6 moves, but he made it work. And for me, Roman's
Never seen a guy either, mate.
Like, yeah, fair, but you need those guys in it, and it's like you need it. Not everyone can be so like the sorry wrestlers. Some people have to be more. I liked it, but yeah, I thought it was a great match. But the one thing I think, and you're going to agree with me, this I know. I thought the ending. I thought, where do you go with this now? Because I felt like you could get like 2, 3, get a trilogy out of this, but they done the Shield fist bump in the middle of the ring afterwards. It's like, well, that's fucking ended the story right there, isn't it? And I think like where do you really go from there? I mean, like I don't know. I thought they could have definitely got some more juice out of that.
I think we have to look at this in contrast, mate, to the Punk Cody, right? Bearing in mind that I felt like this one was on the cards maybe a week before Punk won the belt. So this one had like 1 extra week as a build. The difference being is that this had 12 years of history. So again, it was one of them where all the
one thing to interrupt you,
Yeah,
you did like I did like how he sort of come out and he was like afraid. I don't know how they done it, but he come out. It was like, and he had the Shield gear on, didn't he? And he come back and he had actually come out to the start of the Shield song, and then it went into his song, didn't it? And he was in his actual attire. I thought that was quite clever.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite clever. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, a little nod to
a little nod, yeah.
Past. I mean, look, even Dean Ambrose has had a couple of mentions in the last few weeks when they're talking about
Kurt Angle put something funny on Twitter when I miss you guys too, because he had that one match with the Shield, you remember like that? And I thought that was quite funny. That was a proper Kurt moment, wasn't it?
I will ask him about it.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we're gonna meet you. Me and Kurt, we're gonna be hanging with Kurt, you know what I mean? No big deal. No big deal.
Look, I enjoyed the match. Again, there was emotion in it, right? So, I'm a Rollins guy. So I was so hopeful. I so badly wanted Rollins to get the win that I'm now emotionally invested in the match because I'm not a Roman guy. And I know, and I'm not disagreeing with what you said. Yeah, look, there wouldn't be a WWE if there wasn't a Hulk Hogan. Yeah, we've all agreed on this. And Hogan wasn't a great in-ring performer. So they've always had these guys that have been the
Ultimate Warrior.
Guys,
I mean, Jesus Christ, he had about 3 moves.
Batista, even Triple H had a little bit more in his locker.
Oh no, you can't compare the Cerebral Assassins. He had some great moves in his locker. You know what I mean,
you count them, mate. And when you think about
he had some great moves.
He done well trips to pull the wool over a lot of people's eyes. He hasn't got a big catalogue of moves. Trust me, right?
I mean, he ain't going to give you a toe piece.
I played enough of SmackDown versus Raw as Triple H when I was younger. That move.
I always like the knee. It was the knee to the face. It was always limited. No wonder his knees got so fucked because it was the knees to the face, and then it was the bam knee to. Then he pushed the head, gave his head into the knee, and then obviously the pedigree was on his fucking knees. No wonder his knees were so fucked, wasn't it? You know what I mean?
But look, it was a good match. It was a good match. I can't argue with that. I felt that the ending, me personally, if you wanted to do another Seth Roman match at Mania, you just simply have Seth win again. And Roman has to do this thing of, right now, I really have got to knuckle down. I've got to drop the fucking ego for a little bit. I've got to get back to being the best Roman that I can possibly be. And I have to beat Seth next time. And it really is, I have to beat Seth next time. And then Roman picks up the win, right? That's how I would have done it. Because like you just said, now, any match that they have or any confrontation that they have now in the future, I am not interested in. Because we've now seen it all.
Yeah, and it's been done.
It's been done. It's wrapped up. I've seen it all. One other little thing before I talk about the ending. What the fuck was Seth wearing when he came down to the ring?
It's like we've been talking for a while, haven't we? That he's dropped this silly sort of like, you know, like I don't know, like campy sort of like, you know, like fashion show week stuff.
Looking like John
and you know,
Wick
he's been looking like John Wick. He's been looking really cool with the suit and the long jacket, and like he's been looking cool. And what was it I say? Cool on the other side of the pillow. You know what I mean? But now I'm like, I don't know. He's just gone back to that. Like, you know, maybe you know he should be listening to the Chair Shot Wrestling podcast. He should have took our advice.
Yeah, I mean, look, I felt he put himself at a disadvantage right from the off because he came out looking like a fucking clown, and then Roman fucking treated him like a clown.
He did.
So, yeah, Seth, you fucking bought it on yourself. Disappointed in your son because I was rooting for you.
Yeah, and you know, yeah. Where's the John Wick shit?
I was rooting for you.
I mean, no one had to kill your dog and shit, obviously. You know what I mean? But that would have been too far.
That could have been.
Well, then again, was it Pepper? Do you remember Pepper? That story with the Al Snow and Boss Man. We fed it to him. That was some sick shit, wasn't it?
We'll move on. So, night 2, brilliant. Night 1, in my opinion, bit of a flop.
Yeah, a bit of a flop.
Right?
Yeah.
So they've got a lot of sorting out to do. Now, this sort of follows on from what we're saying about Roman. I said to you, didn't I? Might have been yesterday. I'm wondering whether we are seeing Roman going on his last run, and whether Roman is getting ready to retire in I'm thinking maybe 2 years. It's getting to that stage. Must take its toll on his body. You know, he's had leukemia, hasn't he? He's had that ongoing thing.
Yeah, and he's not fully committed like the others, is he? I mean, he shows up when he wants to, and he's sort of like that. He's had a few Hollywood parts, hasn't he? You know what I mean? Like, you know, he's a handsome geezer. You know, he's going to fucking, you know, he's going to do all right after wrestling, isn't he? You know?
So it did, like, moving on to sort of Raw the day after, it did feel like, you know, like normally after a pay-per-view when you've got lots of stories that have ended, you do get those first Raws or those first SmackDowns where it starts up all the next storylines. But this felt a little bit like a step further. This felt a lot like we were setting up, we're now going on the road of, we're setting up the passing of the torch matches.
Yeah.
As I say, Brock, I believe, is done. I think that's it now. I think that's Brock done. I think he's retired. The first sort of new build, and we spoke about this briefly already, is Ober and Braun. All of a sudden, have just got this little thing, you know, just literally by walking.
I don't hate that. You know what? Because we were speaking about it before, weren't we? Like, who are you going to put Ober with? And it's he's believable.
Did you say you heat Braun back up, mate?
Say you heat Braun back up, but I can see a big, obviously, Heyman turning on, you know, having imagined Heyman's in Braun's corner and he turns on Braun, thus not only elevating Ober and having like Ober maybe this heel character, maybe turning Ober heel with Paul Heyman in his corner, heels we're desperately lacking in, but maybe also turning Braun into a massive babyface at the same time.
I got it written down.
And you know
the
what?
Double turn, Dino.
Maybe it's time to bring out Bronson Steiner. You know what I mean? Maybe it's time to bring out the Steiner name rather than this fucking Bron Breakker, you know? Because why not? You know, his dad's a wrestling legend, his uncle's an even bigger wrestling legend. Why not be using that fucking Steiner name? Like, I don't know. Like, it just don't make any sense to me. Especially, you know, then it don't make any sense to me. They're WWE Hall of Famers, both of them, you know? I don't get it.
I love that idea. Right, and that if I was a booker, I'd be all over that for a double turn, right? And you heat Braun back up by having him as a baby face, and you build Ober into being a desperately needed heel that is believable because he, you know,
He's a threat.
like another Brock Lesnar.
And you know, it looks like, you know, like Roman. It looks like,
I mean, Triple H was imposing as a heel. There's no doubt about that.
yeah, it looks like Roman obviously is going down that baby face route now because everyone's loving him. How can you, like, you know, the entrance,
Randy Orton in the past has been that sort of heel, hasn't he? That big believable.
Yeah, it makes sense. You know,
heel.
there's no one that can make him turn him into a heel quicker than Paul Heyman.
The only thing, the doubt in my mind, though, mate, is do they see Oba as the face of the company? And if they see him as the face of the company, if they see him as the poster boy,
Cody, to
take over. No, I'm talking about to take over from Cody. Don't forget, Cody's getting. He got booed, mate. He got booed when he came down to the ring. And if there was more wrestling fans in that arena, them boos would have been clearer, I think. They saved themselves by having people sitting there who probably didn't even know what the fuck was going on. Do they want Oba as their poster boy? Because if they do, then they're going to keep him face and it will be Oba's run to the Royal Rumble, wins the Rumble.
Yeah.
Challenges Roman, challenges Punk. I don't know. Like whoever it is, it will be a big win for Oba against either champion at WrestleMania, I think.
Yeah.
I think they'll do it that quick. I don't think they'll fuck about with Oba. I think he will go. I think he will have a belt by Mania. In which case, yeah, I don't see them turning him heel if they want that to happen. But I think he would be a great heel with Heyman next to him. He cuts a good promo. The guy's he's the finished article, in my opinion. I don't see any faults with his in-ring stuff. He doesn't botch. He seems to be safe. He does these big, powerful moves, but he seems to be safe with them. He doesn't fucking drop people on their head or anything like that. I think he's great at cutting a promo over.
Yeah. No, I think he's right.
I mean, I really do think. I think you know, think he will be a superstar.
I think it'll be more. Sorry to interrupt you, Sarah, but I think it needs to be more impressive that if he had a big heel run, and then eventually, like, you know, he had this big face turn afterwards. I think that would make him an even bigger face. You know, it's helped. There's so many stars in the past. You know, look at The Rock, you know, like they tried to push him to be a babyface. They put him in the nation domination thing, you know, and he was a heel, and then he's a red hot babyface. You know, it happens, you know, so many times where it makes sense that to turn him heel to make him an even bigger face eventually down the line.
How easy is it to turn him into a heel with 20,000 people going?
Look, we go back to that again, don't we?
As he comes down to the ring, which I would do. Because if I was at a show,
right,
I wouldn't be.
The only way you do it...
Would I do the overstrap?
The only way you do it...
Yes, I fucking would.
The only way you do it is you cut that shit out. You know, it's like when Chris Jericho turned heel... did Chris Jericho turn heel on AEW when he took the Judas... Did he take the Judas theme out for a while or so?
Well, yeah.
Oh, no, sorry. What Jericho done was, you know, like, you know, he comes out and, you know, you're just a fucking Jericho, Y2J. You know, he cut all that out, he come out, he just come out normal music, just walking down the ring. You know, that's wrestling psychology 101, isn't it? You know, you take away what the people want and it makes you a heel. You know, that's what you need to do. But it's just if the Netflix demographic, you know, and all the Netflix top execs are going to be up for that, you know, because they fucking want the big moments. They want the big Instagram moments, don't they, in the TikToks. You know, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. You take away what the people want. You take away what saying want. It's natural human interaction. You're not going to like it, are you? You're not going to like that person.
I mean...
You take away my Jack Daniels, I'm not going to like you, Steve O. Do you know what I mean? Like that.
Wrestlers don't have to have the same entrance theme through their whole career anyway.
No.
That never fucking happened. Randy Orton's entrance theme wasn't always the same as it is now, right? And I'm telling you what, people did not used to fucking sing it. When he came, I'm talking about the 2009 Randy Orton.
Oh, the punting people in the head.
Punting the McMahons in the head, Randy Orton, right? No one sung that song when he came out, right? It was menacing. But yeah, well, I don't know where they're going to go with it.
Oh, we'll have to see.
Okay, so moving on then. We've got Oba Braun as our next sort of feud. We think that's brewing. And we also looks like we've got Gable and Dom. for the
I
Intercontinental.
would have
title.
fucking
Looks
been
like
loving that if it weren't for the fact that, he's just been ruined, but Dan has. And, I mean, like, I would have been like, excited about that match now. But now how'd you get that heat back?
I mean, look, they both should be able to give us some good segments, right? In terms of like interacting and building this up. And I do feel that Dom needs to get back to winning. I can't remember the last time he won a match.
No.
Like, that's sort of part of the problem, really.
He was so...
You can't, you're never going to believe that he's going to win anything big.
He was on the cusp of looking... He was on the cusp, wasn't he, a few months ago, of looking like he was going to, start challenging for the title and that. Like, he was looking...
predicted him as a fucking King of the Ring winner.
And I just think, I keep saying it. Like, why this Judgment Day thing? Why does it keep going on? Like, I just don't see the point of this Judgment Day anymore. It's done its death. Like, I've never really rated it in the first place. Even when it was with Damian Priest and Finn Balor and that, I never really got behind it. I never really. It weren't NWO. It weren't D-Generation X, was it? It weren't like, it's never really been a big thing for me. It's like,
it helped to build Rhea Ripley, did it not?
Yeah, it helped to build Rhea Ripley.
That's about it.
And then and then Damian Priest did have that little run, and the title run after. But what I'm saying is, like, they were never like that believable as a team to me, like the big team. But it's now you're just dragging out this team like it's a big deal. And I don't know, like JD McDonough and
I think it's
Dom.
just because maybe they don't know what to do with the others. Like, they don't know what to do with JD, and they don't know what to do with...
Well, like, they put him in the cruiserweight match, didn't they, on SmackDown?
Raquel Rodriguez, and I always forget the other one's name. That's how I forget.
Roxanne
Perez. And do you know what? Roxanne Perez is actually decent in the ring.
Yep.
She's actually decent.
Yeah.
But what do you do with her? Like, I don't know.
No, I don't know. And the thing is, like, Liv Morgan's so fucking over, and she's the most over woman in wrestling anywhere in the world. And that's AEW as well. I'd say, like, I mean, Liv's just like...
What is she... They haven't really done anything with her. She won that belt at Mania, mate.
Yeah.
She won the belt at Mania, and really...
Yeah, but this is the problem, Steve-O, that she's over, but she hasn't got any dancing partners. Do you know what I mean? There's no like that. It's different. Like, it's all well and good her being over, but, who have you got? You're only as good as your opponent.
I mean, I think they've had to do this, but it looks like Becky's turned face. So they've brought Becky Lynch back, and Becky got a big cheer, and she went face to face with him instantly. Right, you can see that Becky Lynch has got this sort of star power about her. She fucking whoever she's in the ring with, right? She just elevates them straight away. So I think that is now what they need to do with Liv. They need to just get her working in maybe a long feud with Becky Lynch, like a proper, make it like so that by the end of it, it's like a fucking blood feud. They hate each other. Drag that over 6 months because like as I said, Io Sky, probably the best female wrestler in the world in ring, can't cut a promo because of the language barrier. But we know this.
No.
It's nothing. This is nothing new with Japanese wrestlers.
It's the same thing. Same issue we had with what's his name, the Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah, but that's why most of them, right? Most Japanese wrestlers in the past have been heels, right? And you put them with a manager. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Right? I know Yokozuna, he wasn't Japanese, but they tried to suggest that he was Japanese. I can't ever remember Yokozuna ever talking.
No.
He only ever said bonsai.
Yeah.
He had Mr. Fuji with him doing the mic stuff. I think back in the day you had the Orient Express. I think there might have been Slickster or someone like that. So you get Japanese wrestlers, you make them heel, and you get someone that can talk for them. Io Sky can't be a heel. She's too friendly. She's too, she's got that sort of energy about her. She's too smiley. Great wrestler. But how the fuck, you can't build any stories. Mate, and she's already been champion, and it's proved it. When Io Sky was champion, she's done nothing. Done nothing. You've got to have... Like, I think it is hard for women wrestlers anyways. It's still difficult for them to fight for their spot, right? At the top of the card. and there's no doubt about it, fucking best ones, and the only ones that have ever done it, and the only ones that have ever main evented a WrestleMania was Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Ronda Rousey, right? And Ronda Rousey, it came off the back of a genuine mixed martial arts career where she was practically unbeatable.
Yeah.
The only other ones that I think have got that sort of star, Mercedes Moné's definitely got it.
Yeah.
She's not the greatest at cutting a promo, but she's got that star power. You know that when she's in the ring, that you're watching someone, and Toni Storm's got it, and that's it. They're the only ones. Oh, Rhea Ripley, who's injured.
Yeah.
But beneath that, they're all so limited.
No, great.
I guess that's why I'm glad that Chelsea Green's been elevated, because she has got some sort of presence in the ring.
Yeah.
She bounces off of people and tells a story quite well.
Yeah, let's see what's got with
Tiffany
Chelsea.
Stratton,
No, I don't. What's
fucking
going on?
rubbish, mate. She is shit.
No, the Tiffy time thing's war now.
Rubbish.
It's like, is a
Soul Rooker, not sure. Decent in the ring, but again, can she tell a story?
no. I'm not
Time will
believable.
tell.
Not believable.
Definitely not. So, yeah, you got to get your Becky Lynch's in there to be at the top of the card on Raw. Otherwise, Liv's just wasted on Raw, and she might as well go over to SmackDown, because you might as well not have a women's division on Raw.
Maybe,
Fucking
yeah.
waste of time.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Like, but it's the thing, innit? It's like the fair rights thing, but maybe just have one title. I don't know, because I don't know, for me, they've got a lot going on, haven't they, really? But they haven't really got.
No.
Mate, and maybe.
The women's tag team, to what a disaster that's been. I mean, Paige and Brie Bella, shocking. No one gives a shit about them. Mate, I said it at the start, didn't I? When Paige came out at WrestleMania, he got no reaction from me whatsoever.
No.
I've seen her in AEW, and I know she's got no charisma. I don't know how she was ever over to begin with. I don't get it. I don't get the Paige thing. She's got nothing about her at all. And the Bellas, nothing.
And you sort of forget about like the women's tag titles. They're just been champs forever. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. But it's like, and you see
I
AEW.
quite like that. Who's the heel group that's just won the belts? They've got something sort of about them, or the main one has. Jesse something. I don't even, mate. That's how insignificant they are. I don't even know their name.
I mean, you look at AEW, like they're like Tony Khan is trying to do that thing where he's trying to actually make women's tag teams now, because you got the Brawling Birds, and we say Cat Slater and Peggy Mitchell, and he's like, Tony Khan's been up watching EastEnders. Oh, yeah, my pub. The very Cat Slater-esque to her, I mean, like, but it's cool. And what's the other team called?
Well, so the champs are the, oh my God, something Dominion. Was Megan Bain.
Yeah, but even still, you've got that, and you've got that, and then you've got Tekla's group.
Divine Dominion.
And you've got the Brawling Birds, and you've got Tekla's group. And it's just like, and it's like, it is like, it makes sense. There's like these women's tag teams, rather than just putting them together. Like, that's what makes sense, isn't it?
Yeah, and look, I can't knock them. They tried to do that in that match on night one of SummerSlam. They did have them in sort of matching ring gear, but they just.
Yeah, but you're just throwing two people together, aren't you?
Yeah, they're just not interested in it because they haven't seen them work their way up, right? Forget the women's tag teams, right? Even with men's tag teams, they always got a better reception from the crowd when they worked their way up. When they came in as a tag team, this is our new tag team. They're young, but they try, and they win a match and they lose a match, and they win a match and they lose a match, and then gradually they win 3 matches, and then they lose a match, and then they win 5 matches, and then they get a title shot. And you enjoy the journey of seeing those teams, like the Rockers and stuff like that. You enjoy that journey. I'm just trying to think. The Hardy Boys. Hardy Boys didn't get instant success.
No.
They didn't instantly bring them in and go, there you go, boys, have the tag team belts. They were probably like the last ones to get it. I'm sure the Dudleys had it, and Edge and Christian had it before they won them.
Yeah.
You enjoy watching the journey of seeing them progressing. And they went for so long, they just went, like you said, on that period where there was no tag teams. It was just all two guys thrown together.
Yeah.
We don't know what to do with them, so we stick
Let's
them
just
in
put
a
them
tag
together.
team.
Yeah, and that's what it feels like in this. But like, you know, I get there are tag teams like that, but at least be making an effort. And there's still a few tag teams about like
But
Tony Khan.
I feel like that's where that should start. The tag team should start in NXT, and they should come through. But they're not even doing that with the men, are they?
No.
Really? Like, you know, there's no tag teams coming through. There's only individuals coming through, which just shows you that they just simply don't care about. They don't care about that. You know, the tag team belts was part of the original Triple Crown, right?
Yeah.
You were tag team IC world champion. That was the original fucking thing that made you an instant Hall of Famer. That if you won them three, and now it's just like,
Yeah.
bothered about them. Not bothered about them. I don't know why, because tag team wrestling is an easy way. I mean, you got 4 stars on the screen at once, right? And if you have a tag team scene where you've got maybe 4 teams, well, you've got 8 wrestlers. You've got 8 wrestlers that are interacting in some kind of a weekly thing. Surely that's a way of getting people reps and getting people on TV.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, it's like
it's
almost like we're stating the obvious to
No.
these people that have been in the wrestling business for years and
Yeah.
years. Like, but
Well,
I don't
you
know.
know, someone needs to do something about it. Yeah.
They don't get it. Right. Okay. Before we move on, I just want to come back to Chad Gable and Dom. Right. So after this feud, I'd like to see Gable go on this nice run now. Personally, I'd like to see him maybe go on like 12 title defenses, something like that. You know, like go on a nice.
Yeah.
Let's see if you can do, because I found this really difficult. I want 5 names, right, for Chad Gable to go up against. 5 title defenses that you think are worthy of being in that IC title picture. It's harder than you think.
5, obviously Dirty Dom.
Right, so we can have Dom. Who else on Raw do you think he should be working with?
Ethan Page. Push.
Has he not really? I feel like he's already beaten him.
Yeah.
Didn't they already? I'm sure he's already beaten Miro, and he's beaten Ethan Page as part of that mini feud with Alpha Academy.
True. Yes, it's hard.
I agree that Ethan Page is all right, but it feels like they've already done that.
Yeah. On the Raw side of things.
It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where do they take him next?
On the Raw side of things, I'm trying to think. That is a tough one.
It's hard, isn't it? I put Big Cass. I thought, because he's just come back. I thought maybe he
big man against
the blitzes a few people, and then maybe he could fight Gable. But I literally struggled. Beyond that, I was thinking, well, surely you can't bring Jey Uso back down into that area. So it's not going to be.
Well, I think he belongs in it, but you know, I mean, the Yank thing.
But I don't think that they're going to. I don't think they're going to take main event Jey Uso down to the IC title picture.
Yeah.
You ain't bringing Jacob Fatu back down to there. It's like, well, I was thinking, well, who the fuck is he going to fight then?
No, this is tricky.
Because JD isn't really. He might get an IC title match on Raw, but it's not really a challenger. It's going to be part of the Dom feud, isn't it?
Yeah.
But who are the genuine IC title?
Obviously, yeah. I mean, obviously, like you said, he's defeated Miro. He's defeated. Obviously, Penta's like out of the picture now, and it's like
comes back to the title of this. Mate, I'm definitely going to call this. Comes back. Where's all the heels?
Where are the heels? Yeah, I called it, didn't I?
Do you know who would have been good to go up against Chad Gable? Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah.
Kofi Kingston. Andrade. Aleister Black. Do you know the problem with them 4? They ain't fucking there anymore.
They're in AEW.
They let them go.
Yeah.
Like, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
You ain't putting Bron Breakker into that scene.
Yeah.
Not now. If he's going in there with Hobart, he ain't going into that scene. Where's all the heels?
Yeah.
You got Johnny fucking Gargano who just lays around like a fucking doing nothing.
What is that? What is the payoff?
Is he injured?
Well, I don't know. What is the payoff for that? I don't understand.
I don't know where it's going, but I mean, he's someone that for me, he should be in your IC title picture or your US title picture.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that should be every fucking week. He should be having a match somewhere in that mid card. Who else have you got? It's not like,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's an odd one, isn't it? It is.
They've just failed miserably to elevate anyone into that picture. All right. I mean, Chad Gable, he's going to have a match with, what's his name? Or I'm already getting bored of. Javon Evans. Bouncy. Right?
Oh, your boy, Soul Bounce. Oh, I just don't know. I don't get it.
He'll have a match.
That cringes me out. You know that bit when he comes out? Well, your boy, Bouncy. Like, it just cringes me out. Like, I just think it's just fucking cringe, isn't it? See baby shit again, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? Like that. Like, I don't know. Like.
So, yeah, massive issue for me. Massive issue. You've got Chad Gable now, finally, where you want him, and he's got fucking no one to fight. So, yeah, I couldn't do it either, mate. I'll set you up for that question, really, because I'd already thought and I couldn't think of any names. Right, okay, main event picture then. A guy that I like at the minute. I'm pleased that they have given him this spot because I think he's been cutting some fucking good promos. Even though sometimes he messes them up, he recovers them because he tries to talk with some passion, right? LA fucking Knight.
Yeah.
I like LA.
Yeah. It was a great back and forth.
He's back. It feels like he's back.
It was a great back and forth as well. He went at Roman, and Roman was saying, you call yourself a megastar and you got your Walmart fucking... Yeah.
Watch.
And then he come back out, didn't he? And he said, "Oh, I got my Walmart." He said, "I'm leaving," didn't he? He said, "I got my Walmart watch." Well, what about? He said, "Where's your daddy?" And let's go.
Yeah. So this is the LA Knight from 2.5 years ago, when he was sort of red hot.
Yeah.
Before they fucking just.
Yeah.
Well, before he stepped aside for Jey Uso, basically.
Yeah.
That's what happened, wasn't it?
That is what happened.
He was the guy. And they moved him aside so that Jey Uso could be elevated.
Yeah, I could see a great feud coming. Yeah.
I'm pleased for LA Knight because I think he deserves it. I think they he's a great character. The crowd go nuts for him. He's got great catchphrases. He makes it interesting whenever he's on TV. He's interesting, and there's no way that he should be just like a fucking top mid-card jobber, because that's what they turned him into for a long time, didn't they? Just literally every match of any significance, he lost it. So it'd be nice to see, him and Roman maybe now going at it. This is a bit that's confusing me still, right? LA Knight. So the story around Roman at the minute seems to be that people are calling him out about you can't do it on your own. Punk did it at Mania. Right, said you can't beat me without your bloodline, right? And then they had the match and Roman did beat him without the bloodline. Rollins has just done it, called him out on it. You can't beat me without your bloodline. And he did. There was no bloodline involvement. LA Knight has now kind of called him out, saying, right, when you beat me 3 years ago, you only beat me because of your bloodline, right? You owe me. You owe me a shot. You owe me a chance to go one-on-one, no interference. I like that because I think what that does is, for people like me that don't like Roman, it starts to build this thing of like, well, yeah, he's always been this guy. He's got people to do his dirty work for him, and you know, he was champion for 4 years and all this sort of shit, but he never really impressed. It was always took shortcuts and all that stuff. So basically, what it does is it puts him in that position where he's now showing you that. No, he can do it on his own. And he is this big deal. And he is the tribal chief. And he is what he says he is.
Yeah.
I get that. What I don't get then is, what's the rest of the bloodline going to do? If that's the story you're telling, Roman can do it on his own. And he's now going to go through the roster of everyone that he's cheated against to win in the past. And he's now going to go through the roster and he's going to go, I'm going to beat you fair. I'm going to beat you fair. And he's going to get...
Yeah, what is the point? What is the point of bloodline? Yeah.
Why have we got Jacob Fatu and the Usos?
No, I agree. I agree.
That's what confuses me. Because the story contradicts, right?
No.
So I'm waiting for a point of this bloodline to kind of fall apart. And then you have the Royce Keys match against Jacob Fatu, decent match,
Yeah, it
right?
was a decent
And they've been
match.
telling that story for a few weeks.
Two big men.
Two big men. Had a great match. It was like the street fight, I think, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
there was a bit of weapons and stuff. Jacob Fatu, you know, at the end of the match, he's going mental. He put Royce Keys' head in the chair. You know, he does that running sort of.
Yeah. He looked like a savage, didn't he?
Yeah. And mate, and there was blood. Now,
Yeah.
WWE not big on the blood thing, are they? But he actually, from that, what's his move? I always get it wrong. The
Tongan death grip.
The Tongan death grip.
Yeah.
So through the Tongan death grip, that's what actually made him bring up blood. That's the story that I was telling. That's not a WWE thing to do.
No.
That's an A thing
to
do.
Maybe
right?
they're taking notes.
So I thought that they've made Jacob look like this fucking menace all of a sudden. And I was like, yes, this is what I want to see. This is like fucking great. This is back in the day. It's what Umaga was doing to people. And then at the end of it, out comes Roman, one finger in the air, Jacob, one finger in the air. And I'm like, that doesn't make any, I don't get, what are we doing here? You're being teased about doing it all on your own. And yet Jacob is still latched in with you. What are we doing here?
Yeah. Like you said, you made him into a beast, and unbelievable. Where's he going with Roman? He's going against people one-on-one. I don't know. I just don't know. I
mean, Jacob has to turn on him, like within the next couple of months, I think.
He has to. And then it's a credible match again, I think Jacobs needs to be the one eventually to beat him for the title. I think that's what needs to happen.
I think they fucked up with having that match. They should have done something else, but I don't know why they didn't pivot or change it. Maybe they were in too deep. That Clash in Italy one, where they had the tribal warfare, and the reports were that Jacob Fatu was injured going into that match, and that they sort of scaled it down a little bit. We both predicted, didn't we, that we like this storyline of Jacob winning and Roman having to somehow. It was the Black Panther
storyline, yeah.
Roman having to kind of somehow work his way back up to being the tribal chief. Now, I think that this would have been a perfect way of doing it. This whole thing of, Jacob Fatu might have maybe won the match, not necessarily become champion, but become the tribal chief. Roman's still got the belt. Roman's still building his legacy by beating people without the bloodline. But eventually, to really regain his legacy, he has to become the tribal chief again. So, I don't know, but the fact that they'd already done that tribal combat, I don't know why they went ahead with it. Why didn't they change it? They could have just made it a street fight or a. Don't know why they done that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
If they weren't going to pull the trigger at that point, why did they do it? It's almost like they wasted that stipulation.
Oh, I feel you.
They could have kept it. I don't know. I think it's an error. I love it. I love Jacob Fatu. And again, I want him to be. I want him to be this madman, fucking loose cannon, wild man heel.
Yeah.
I said we're lacking heels. He's perfect. Indeed. He's there. He's staring you in the face. But again, Jacob Fatu's getting cheered, right? So while he's doing this to Royce Keys, and Royce Keys is bleeding out of his mouth, the crowd are cheering Jacob
again because of the old.
Yeah. So I don't know. Crazy. I don't, they've got themselves in a mess. I don't know how they get themselves out of it. They've got the talent there to turn this around and make it right and get the show interesting again and do great things. But they've got to start fucking tidying up this stupid booking and fucking storytelling. Whatever's written on that whiteboard in that fucking ballroom, right? Get a bit of terps, right? Fucking clean it off and start again, right? Get it right. Because they're not getting it right. It don't make sense. And it's not, and I could understand the argument if they were coming back and going, yes, we know that the storylines are a little bit all over the place, but look, we're selling out arenas, right? We're doing it because this is what the fans want to see, and we're selling tickets and we're giving the fans what they want. right? Well, I'm sorry, but the fact that AEW All In at Wembley has already outsold either of those 2 nights of SummerSlam, and bearing in mind that this is an American show, right? AEW is not a British promotion, right? It is an American wrestling promotion, and it is doing an overseas show, and it has outsold SummerSlam, right? Come up with any fucking excuse you want, but that tells me a story that that's not good enough. That's nowhere near good enough. That is clearly not what the fans want to see. Because if they wanted to see it, they would have fucking bought a ticket and gone to see SummerSlam.
I mean, obviously as well, though, it helps the affordable ticket prices and that, and over the one night. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, but AEW's ringside tickets, mate, and they're you know, they ain't cheap. You know, you're still talking about like they've got tickets there that are like $5,000 at ringside.
Oh, fair. Oh.
You know, so it's not like they've gone, oh yeah, we'll let anyone sit anywhere for 50 quid. Yeah. AEW have got a price structure as well.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I've paid £200 per ticket for my seats at the Club Wembley bit. You go up a tier, and you could get some cheap ones. And look, and I got mine early because I wanted the seats that I wanted. And actually, I probably could have got them for maybe 120 or something, as the prices have sort of dropped off.
Yeah.
But it's not like AEW are giving the tickets away, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And we know that WWE did try to do that because they had tickets available for less than $25. So they tried to do the same thing.
They're fair play with that. Fair play with that. I do agree with that. And they haven't rushed their storylines. I mean, the big thing is, well, we're going to get in. We need to start talking about AEW now, really, don't we? I mean,
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. I mean, what a way to start.
So much has happened since the last time that we spoke.
No, I mean, but what a way to start. I mean, how excited are we?
Look, I reckon, just talk about the main event picture. I reckon we just need to have a chat about Omega, Ospreay, and Mox, right? Because that's the big picture.
I mean, I said the other day, this is the big thing I said, is the ending to Revolution was literally like redemption.
There is a revolution.
There is a revolution. That's why I got confused. The ending to Redemption was sort of like when I went and see Star Wars.
Rogue One.
Rogue One. Star Wars Rogue One. You know, at the end, I walked out of that pictures and I said to my mate James, I went to see it with, I said, fucking hell, if I would have watched that last 5 minutes where Darth Vader goes off on people, I would have felt like I got my money's worth. That last 5 minutes, wow, the twists and turns. It was like a fucking M. Night Shyamalan film. And it was just like, you didn't know what the fuck was going on, did you? I mean, 1 minute you're like, oh, shit, like fucking Ospreay's going to do it. He's going to do it. Yeah, he's this. And then like, bam, like fucking next thing you know, he fucking turns on the Death Riders. You think, what? He's turned, and you think that's bad enough. You're like, and then Omega does the fucking big turn on Ospreay. But it was just fantastic. And what I loved, I mean, we're going to get more into it, but then the fact that on AEW, they brought in they replayed it, didn't they? The end of Redemption. But they had John Moxley and the rest of the Death Riders backstage watching it. He's like, oh, go on, do him. We'll forgive you. And then he didn't do him, and he said, "Oh, fucking do it," like that, and that was brilliant. That was brilliant.
I forgot about that bit. I forgot about that because you're right, mate. The way that this was done, it was like a movie because every bit of it had like a little nod to the past as well. So when John Moxley pulls out the plastic bag, you're instantly taken back a couple of years with the way that he finished off Bryan Danielson. Yeah, but I mean, and I've never seen anything in a wrestling show that I thought that might be a step too far.
How was Terry Funk though when he was doing it to Ric Flair back in the day?
That, like, a plastic bag over the head is like, you know, we've been talking about gangster films, haven't we? And that's the sort of thing you would have seen in Goodfellas. But yeah, you know, so as soon as he brings out the plastic bag, you're thinking, shit, we've seen this before. We know that it's in Moxley. Moxley ain't going to hesitate to do it.
And
will Ospreay do it?
And fucking hell, Moxley would do it to anyone. But there's no love lost, you know, because, you know, Kenny, he said about the skeletons in his closet, you know, and it was like he hates Omega anyway, you know, so.
And then, like you say, Ospreay chooses not to do it. You know, he then floors Moxley, but Moxley doesn't, again, you know, you'd expect Moxley to get up and Moxley to then just go and instantly turn on Will, but it's almost like he still believes a little bit in Will. He still believes that he can get through to Ospreay, you know?
Well, you had that start bit, didn't you?
Yeah.
The show where they're all talking.
And then when they left it, we never saw any of this on Redemption, though, did we? We never saw any of that bit on the show.
No.
It was all about Ospreay and Kenny, and it was only on the following Dynamite that they show you the Death Riders going backstage. And like you say, watching it on the TV screen. And I thought that was just gold because I've never seen that.
I thought it was fantastic.
I've never seen that in a wrestling program before where it's like you're watching Jon Moxley watch it real time with the Death Riders. And even before Kenny does the turn, he's saying to Will, when he, go on, Will, do him before he does it to you.
All be forgiven.
Before he does it to you. And then, and he looks so disappointed
he knew,
when they're standing up on the turnbuckle. And then as soon as Kenny turns, he's like, oh, fuck, here we go. I tried to tell him. And he still believes in Ospreay at that point, though. He won't, as much as he's disappointed, he still thinks that he can get through to him until they meet, don't they? It's like in this little sort of alleyway, like before they go into the stadium.
Yeah, and Daniel Garcia called the fight. I love that.
Banged out Garcia, didn't he? And then Ospreay handed the badge back.
Yeah,
and said, I'm not doing it your way.
Yeah, it was mad, but
it was great.
It was great, and even Kenny's part when he explained sort of how he done it, I thought that was a solid promo. And Harry said you don't ever fucking talk down to me. And I can imagine that, I see it from my job. Say I'm a chef and I'm really good at what I do. And one of my boys sort of saying to me, oh, have you really got it anymore? Have you really got this?
Yeah.
I'll be like, who the fuck are you talking to? You know what I mean? You would, wouldn't you? Who the fuck are you talking to? You know what I mean? I'm the senior one here. I'm the one that's done it all. You know what I mean? And that's it'd be the same thing. And you can relate to that. And you think, well, actually, Kenny's got a bit of a point. Because there was. And this is where they're very clever. And I think it's Tony Khan, being a wrestling fan, very, very clever. They leave little Easter eggs, as we call it, little hidden gems, where throughout the show, you don't fucking realise when you're watching it, but you watch it. And if you pay close enough attention, like we do, that thing where... how can I explain it? The thing where Ospreay says to him, well, what happened to you? Now you would think, oh, that won't really a big deal. And it goes in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
But then you think...
It goes back to that. It was when they were in the medical room.
Shit. Oh, but then you think, shit, he did say that. You know what I mean? And it just comes up in your head like his little Easter eggs. Shit, he did say that.
Yeah.
And, and it's there in your brain like that. And Tony Khan is very clever writing now.
It goes back to that clip where they were in that medical room. And Ospreay had just lost to Moxley.
Yeah.
And Omega had just lost to MJF. And you had that bit where Moxley, when they're talking, and then Moxley... that was it happened twice, didn't it? The first one, it was just Ospreay and Kenny. And Ospreay was kind of saying... Kenny was doubting himself, and Ospreay was saying, look, I think you've got one more run in you, blah, 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 blah. And then you had another one, and I can't remember what pay-per-view it followed, but they were back in there again, and it was a bit of like a mirroring of it. But at that point, Moxley had already taken Ospreay under his wing. And do you remember Moxley walked in, and that's when he said about, well, we've all got skeletons, haven't we? And it was just that one line. It was that one line for Moxley that opened up the whole thing, because it was all about how Kenny turned on Mox to win the belt the first time round. And Moxley, knowing that Omega had that in him, right? For all of the faults that Moxley's got, and that's what I love about Moxley, because he just goes, I'm a fucking bad man. I'm not pretending to be a saint, but don't you fucking tell me you're a saint, because I know you're not a saint. And that's what I love about Jon Moxley. He just says it as it is. And it all goes back to that one little bit, doesn't it? Like you said, it could be forgettable, but Tony Khan made a point of having that as part of this storyline, and then it all comes together. It all comes together, the payoff of that storytelling.
Yeah.
Build.
Indeed, it does.
And look, we've had loads of different predictions, haven't we, about what we thought the main event was going to be. I did say that originally I thought it was going to be a Mega Ospreay. I got it bang on. In between that, I had a little bit of a wobble. I thought, there's a way that MJF might be involved in this. It could be a triple threat. somehow there could be Hangman could be involved in it, but it is 1-on-1, right? And apparently, since Omega won that belt and that match, that graphic for that match first went up, they've shifted nearly 10,000 tickets for All In just off the back of that. So that shows you that is a match that people want to see. It's a match that it's moved.
I personally can't wait to see it.
But again, it's still all the stuff that's going on around it. Between now and then, we still don't know what's going to happen, you know? Like, I can't see... I know Mox is now... He's got to sort of turn his focus a little bit onto this new Continental Cup, which we'll talk about in a bit. But I still don't feel like the him and Ospreay thing is finished. I don't see Mox just walking away from that, do you?
No, I don't.
And also, where's MJF?
I don't know. I mean, there's something big coming at Wembley, and I don't know what, you know. And there's going to be some fucking twists and turns, isn't there?
Where's MJF? I don't believe that MJF is out of this story completely.
We've still got 4 Dynamites to go, haven't we?
I know.
We've still got 4 Dynamites to go.
I know. Look, I mean, they're at 36,000 tickets sold.
Yeah.
With how many days have we got? What are we now? We're the 5th today, ain't we? We've got 25 days. I reckon they'll get over 40,000. And I reckon 40,000 in today's climate, being a World Cup year as well, where a lot of people have spent a lot of money, and we know a lot of football fans are also wrestling fans. I think personally, I think that's a decent amount. And it's the 3rd time you've ran it at Wembley, so it's not like it's got that thing about it where it could be a one-off. You know, the first one, people thought it was just a one-off. Wow, the wrestling show at Wembley.
Yeah.
We haven't had it since SummerSlam 92. We've got to make sure we go to it. And, you know, being the 3rd one out of 4 years, I think if you can still get 40,000, I think that's still pretty good, personally.
It is. And I mean, I just...
It'd be 40,000 sickos as well.
Sickos. I just personally, as a fellow sicker, I just cannot wait. I cannot wait. I've ordered my Will Ospreay shirt. I'm going to do Ospreay. I'm going to be all for it. You know what I mean?
Well,
can we just take a pay attention? Yeah, I know you're a traitor, really, aren't you? I mean, I didn't want to bring it up, you know what I mean? You know, that's our boy, but it's a nice shirt.
Listen,
it's a nice shirt, but
I tried to get it at the O2 last year, right? I saw it, I was like, oh fuck. Went up there, queued up. Have you got any Omegas in large? They said, we haven't got any Omega t-shirts in any size. It literally sold out within half an hour. And I was like, oh. And I've been waiting for it to come back in stock, right, ever since. And I thought, I've got to get it, right? Now, we're going to go up to Glasgow to watch Dynamite and Collision, right?
Yeah.
The go-home show before All In. Now, there's a lot of Scots that are going to be there, being in Glasgow. And they don't like the English very much. So they might not, you know, I don't know. There might be more Omega fans than Ospreay fans, so I'm playing it safe.
Oh man, that's turncoat. Look.
No,
we just pay attention to another great Englishman who ain't got his Jews. Like I got my Bruiserweight Pete Dunne t-shirt on. There's on the back there. Look, Pete Dunne. Yeah. Another guy. Where the fuck's Pete Dunne? Why isn't he getting?
Why is it? Yeah.
AEW. Get him over there.
Pete Dunne versus Chad Gable. There it is for you. But somehow you've got to build him back up again.
Why no I'm building him? What is it they called him? Butch. Bad.
Yeah. Anyway, we've gone back to WWE.
Anyway, yeah.
Oh. Can't help us. Tell me. So, yeah, you know, that's the main event scene in Dynamite, and can't wait for it. A couple of other little bits we want to talk about, because we only, I mean, the card's only just really coming together for All In. So we might as well talk about what we've got on the card, stuff that we know about. Willow is the new Women's World Champion. She's just cut 2 of the best promos that I think I've ever seen her cut. The one that she cut with Tekla before she went into that match where she won it, and the one that she just cut last week with Mercedes Moné. I actually think Willow is the real deal, and I think she's going to be a massive... I don't know whether she's going to
Willow wins. Because you know
Don't
what's
know.
big is the Mercedes Moné is the one belt she hasn't won. She's all that. She's won all those belts, but she's never won the big one, has she?
I do feel that Willow is where she should be. Right, I feel like she is good enough to be at the top end of that women's title picture,
She's so over, isn't she?
especially in Tony Storm's absence. Right, I feel like I think that is the right one to try and elevate. But they've done a great job getting Tekla up there as well. But your Tony Storms and your Mercedes Monets, they need other women wrestlers to interact with that are on their level. What I would say is that this one's got a lot of history, mate. Now, I don't know whether you know the full history of Willow and Mercedes because you tapped out a little bit with AEW, didn't you? So when Mercedes left WWE, she went out to Japan to wrestle for a bit, and she fought Willow out in Japan. And Willow was the one that put her out for over a year.
Oh, wow.
It was an accidental move that happened, and she was the one that put Mercedes on the shelf for a year. And then obviously her contract in Japan was up. And so she came into AEW off the back of that injury. Willow was the TBS champion when Mercedes first came into AEW. It was one of Mercedes' first, I think it was the first match that she had on pay-per-view. She won the TBS title off of Willow. So they were building Willow at the time, and it was like Mercedes came in and swooped, and just like this megastar came in, took her title, and then, Willow's downgraded again. But then Willow got her own back because when Mercedes, was doing the belt collector thing, and she
was on the belt for the TBS. I know that.
Willow was the one that then took the belt off her and started this downward spiral, and then caused Mercedes to have a bit of time out. So it's got like 3-4 years worth of story to it.
That's great.
This is not just a thrown together thing. It could go either way because, again, do you give Willow a short title reign if you're trying to build her up? I'm not sure.
I think it'd be a bit harsh, but then Mercedes hasn't won that title. But maybe she doesn't win it this time, and maybe it's a bigger build to the next pay-per-view, and it is that big story, I could see, you never could win the big one, whereas she finally does,
But for a women's match in ring, this will be a superb match. This will be as good as any women's match that you will see anywhere because I don't doubt it. And Willow's just got this thing about her where she does stuff that a bigger woman shouldn't be doing, really.
Yeah,
I think it'll be a superb match, and I reckon the build to it over this next few weeks is going to be really good.
Yeah,
and that is a women's match that normally a women's match is a time to get up and run to the bar, but I think that one I probably will be watching.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
The other match we've got on the card is the Bucks versus Cope and Cage. Now, I'm a little bit disappointed in this one because I've still
what's coming?
Holding out hope.
Do you know what's coming? And I feel it because I was hoping for the TLC match. Like you said, I'm sorry to steal your thunder now. I know what you were going to say. I can see Motor City Machine Guns against FTR, and I can see, because I think that's a great match and it sells itself. I think that makes so much sense. I think Motor City come in there as a red hot. They come out of their hometown in Detroit and big baby face and then I can imagine Darcy Hill's like FTR coming out. I could see that. That would be a great match.
I mean, I don't know where FTR are at the minute, but what I do know is that FTR are due to have a match at Rev Pro on the Saturday before All In, right? And Rev Pro is taking place at Wembley Arena. So they're, again, like with these links that Tony Khan's now got with these other sort of indie shows, they are turning it into a bit of a kind of like a wrestling festival type thing.
Yeah.
So, now Rev Pro last year was at Crystal Palace in a sports hall. Great show, but certainly as a venue, it's lacking a lot. All of
Wembley
a sudden,
Arena is an impressive arena.
Wembley Arena.
I mean, that's where they hosted SmackDown.
I mean, you're talking about fucking Crystal Palace is a place that's got like 2 toilets.
Yeah.
You've got a couple of thousand people in there, and you've only got 2 toilets that you've got queue up for to use.
Yeah.
And then you're going to Wembley Arena. That's a massive jump. Now that can only come off the back of these links, like I say, and you put FTR on that card. And I dare say that Zack Sabre Jr. will be on that card as well, because he normally does a lot for Rev.
Yeah.
And they might even have a couple more. Mercedes Moné's actually done a lot of work in Rev Pro as well. So we know that FTR are going to be about. So it's not a case that they're missing. They're going to be about. So, yeah, I think you're right. It's only a matter of time before they come back in and we set up another big match. I mean, the other thing, don't forget that you've also got, we don't know, but it's not official, but we know that the New Day now are free agents, right? Their 90-day clause has expired. They could be at All In. They could appear. Oh no, because they got released slightly after Motor City Machine Guns, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think they become free agents in 2 weeks. I think I worked it out before. Their 90-day clause.
So they could be a surprise. They could be a surprise show up at.
Yeah, or on the go home show and they get a last minute match or something like that. I don't know. So there are a few things that can still happen in that tag division. But yeah, I was hoping for the TLC. I was hoping for the TLC match, but it hasn't happened.
Yeah, don't know what's going to happen, Steve, I'm afraid.
I think
it's still going to be a solid match, yeah. But yeah, but TLC.
We've got the Casino Gauntlet match, which is the one where it's like starts off with two wrestlers at random intervals. Another one comes in. It's a one pinfall finishes it. So you could be someone that's due to be in the match. You might not even get in the match if it ends early, but it's kind of a bit like Money in the Bank. So you win a contract that you can cash in, but you can't cash it in like a Money in the Bank. You can't just cash it in at the end of a match when someone's already been destroyed. You have to give 7 days notice. So it is a contract. You can use it to wrestle when you want at any pay-per-view, but you can't do it in a shithouse way. You can't do it in a Seth Rollins type way when someone's already.
No, it's Edge,
dead.
man. Edge was the one that fucking started that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll never forget. I mean, we're going back to WWE again, but I'll never forget that, watching that with my brother. And it was like the fucking Elimination Chamber, and Cena's just battered and bruised. And Edge comes out. You think, why is Edge coming out when he handed over that briefcase? It was fucking legendary. The old opportunist. It was legendary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right. He's the original.
Yeah.
But you can't do that, because that's what we thought it was going to be to begin with, and then Tony can't put a stipulation in, which I quite like, because you don't want it to be the same as WWE.
Yeah, it's a rip-off of it.
But that was always a good match. Like the last one I watched at Wembley was brilliant. We had a surprise entrance from Nigel McGuinness. Was a surprise because no one knew that he was going to be wrestling in it. You had Zack Sabre Jr. was in it. No one knew he was going to be there. And you had Ricochet made his debut in it. So that's always a good one.
AJ Styles.
Hold out hope, man. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be legendary.
I mean, it's just a good spot, because you never know who's coming down. It's a bit like a Royal Rumble in that sense. You never know who's coming down at any time. It's always a good one for a debut or a big return, like an Adam Cole.
Yeah.
Adam Cole.
Yeah, Cole, baby.
I love that.
That's just a shit physique, though. It's the only thing with me. I've got a shit physique, but
Well, okay, so the thing that I want to finish off then is the last match they've advertised on the card, which has only come about this week. There will be the final of the Continental Cup, right? Which means
which you messaged me, which I'm really looking forward to seeing the semis in Glasgow.
Have you seen the cup?
No.
Right, so there's pictures online. The cup is basically like a replica of the FA Cup. It looks like the FA Cup, and it's got the red ribbons on it and everything.
We were speaking about this,
they win a cup,
right?
But you also get the Continental belt that Moxley's got. So Moxley is in the competition, and he has to fight his way through the rounds. But potentially he loses his belt. If he gets knocked out, his belt stripped, and it's then up for grabs. So Moxley's got to do this thing of just like he's got to take on all comers, and he's got to somehow get his way through.
Which is the story of the Continental title, was his pin.
So there's 16 wrestlers in it, right? So you have 8 matches. It's no time limit, no interference. So these are going to be pure wrestling matches. There's going to be no shithousery interference, none of this getting tainted wins and all that bollocks. It's going to be straight up wrestling. it doesn't work like King of the Ring, where it's got brackets, where you can kind of go, oh, look, I think he's going to beat him, and then that will be them, and they're going to meet in the semi-final, or like the Owen Hart tournament. All 8 winners from round 1 go back in the hat, and they draw
the FA Cup.
FA Cup.
I love it, and
So
it's definitely...
you don't know who you're going to get.
It's definitely Tony Khan's Fulham thing, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like, where he's like, he knows with English football, you know, and he's like, it is like, you can tell it's Tony Khan's booking.
Because they can even do, although they've announced the first bracket, right, to get it out there, I'm thinking that he's probably going to have a live draw on one of the shows. So you're going to be watching. You're going to be like number 1.
I fucking love that.
John Moxley.
That's unique, isn't it?
Against number 4, Jay White. You know, like it'd be fucking brilliant. I think
Tony Khan and his English culture, the FA Cup and Castle.
He's loving it.
Just like, yeah, you know,
he's loving it. So these are the round 1 matches, mate. Right? You got Orange Cassidy against Matt Seidel. Now, Matt Seidel used to be, what was his name in WWE? It's gone out of my head. This would have been your career as well. High flyer, wasn't it?
I know.
I met him at a Mania.
He was tag team partners with Kofi, wasn't he?
Yeah. It's gone out of my head anyway. But he's always, you know, he's been one of them where he's always been a solid in-ring performer. He's been out injured for a long time. He's come back. Him and Orange Cassidy, that would be a good match. You got Claudio versus Ace Austin. You got Jake Doyle, the big geezer from Dom Perignon team.
Yeah.
Against a returning Eddie Kingston. Now, that could be
Eddie Kingston. That's the name I know.
That could be a bit of a war. Listen to this one: Roddy Strong against Kyle O'Reilly. The two conglomeration guys against each other. Mate, that's going to be a hell of a match.
Yeah.
That's going to be a hell of a match. Brian Cage versus Hechicero. Bit of a strange one, that one. Although, I think it does play into this storyline about, like, you know, there's little holes appearing in the Don Callis family, isn't there? There's like little...
Yeah, but that's the beauty of the FA, you know, the draw and the FA Cup style thing, because, you know, you're not going to know you're going to get pitted against. So, like, you know, that's the surprise. And he's going to be that shock where, shit, maybe Claudio and Mox go against each other, you know? So
you got Nigel McGuinness is in it. He's fighting Shibata. That's going to be more of a pure technical wrestling match. Jay White is going up against David Finlay. So, you know, already they've got a lot of it, yeah. That's like old Bullet Club stuff, innit?
Yep.
And Jack Perry against John Moxley. That's going to be decent.
That's good. It's a good card.
And we get in Scotland, mate, the 2 semi-finals.
I can't wait, Steve. What a week of wrestling that's going to be.
We get the 2 semi-finals in Scotland. That's going to, mate, that's going to be 2 big matches.
I can't wait.
That's going to be great.
It's going to be fantastic, Steve. It's going to be a week of pure wrestling.
I hope this next few weeks just flies by. I'm feeling like I feel like a kid waiting for Christmas.
Yeah,
you know, like when, you know, like when Christmas is coming, it's like that.
It's going to be better than Christmas.
You know, them last couple of weeks at school just dragged, didn't they? Before you break up for Christmas.
Yeah, I feel you.
That's like, I never thought, I actually didn't think that I would ever feel like this about wrestling. No. I've been pulled back in.
Maybe it's the podcast a little bit. Maybe it's everything.
It could be. Yeah. But I just, I can't wait. I ain't gonna lie, I can't wait. It's gonna be immense. It's gonna be immense, and hopefully, look, we've got some good seats. There's a good chance that you know, John Moxley could be up close for free
floor seats.
For his entrance at Glasgow. So you know, who knows? And then and even after all this, we've got stuff to look forward to. We've got Kurt Angle that we're going to see. Yeah. We've got loads of stuff.
There's a lot to look forward to.
We can get some content and stuff about that as well. So, listen, guys, this has been a long one, but we've had a lot to talk about. It's been a few weeks. I hope you've enjoyed it, even if you've listened to it in bits and bobs. And we'll try and get back to doing our weekly episode from over the next couple of weeks and make sure that these are.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get back to it.
A bit shorter. And remember, please give us a like. Please give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe. And please don't forget that you can download on Spotify, on Apple Music, on Amazon, and on Audible. And remember, nobody talks smack like Dino and Steve O'Mac.
And that is D-Truth, baby. Anyway, have a good one, guys. See you next week.